I'm still watching this morning live on Metro Television, live on DSTV channel 277, live on Facebook and YouTube, Metro TV Ghana. Follow us on Instagram, Metro TV _GH. I'm still here with Desi, and we are being joined by Dr. Setor Norgbe, who is a medical doctor and also the founder for Dr. Setor Foundation. And today we are here to talk about mental health. Mental health, yes. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Like, you've had so many experiences. I think you traveled to Ethiopia,
yes.
And I would have loved us to talk about that. But then let's talk about your program. But first, let's start with what is mental health and what factors causes mental health issues.
Okay. So basically, mental health is just this keeping your mind sane in basic language. I like to try and explain it in basic language so that people understand. But if you want to look at it medically, it's the total well-being of your mind. Total well-being of your mind, yes. So that is mental health. Now, how do you keep your mental health stable? There are so many ways of keeping your mental health stable and preventing yourself from getting mental health issues. Now, first and foremost, you need to understand what are the probable causes of mental health issues, because there are a lot of mental health issues, from very mild ones to very severe ones. Okay. Now, what are some of the causes? There are genetic causes, environmental factors that trigger mental health issues. And these are things that you need to look at. You need to look at the genetic factors. So one of the risk factors of mental health issues is having a close relation that has mental health issues. Now, the fact that a close relation has mental health issues does not necessarily mean that you would also get mental health issues, but then it's a risk factor. So once you see that you have this risk factor, now these are things that you need to manage. Now you need to manage the environmental factors. What are some of the environmental factors you need to manage? The stress and all that comes with that unnecessary triggers that you can avoid. Okay, so stress. Yes, stress especially.
Stress causes mental health.
Yes.
Wow. What type of stress?
It depends. Everybody has. So yes, medicine in general is an individual based. There are general things, but then you treat a patient. You don't treat a disease. So everybody has a threshold. Of stress that they can tolerate, and so you need to know yourself to be able to maintain a good mental hygiene. So that's the first thing: knowing yourself and knowing how much stress that you can accommodate in a time. Now, I always advise people not to create external stress for people, because at the end of the day, sometimes in our work environment, we have hostile bosses and all of that. So you try to be nice as much as you can, because you might not know what the threshold of the person sitting right by you is. So yeah, these are some of the things that you need to
it brings that to mind what they say that, you know, a lot of us have mental health issues, but we do not.
Nobody's naked.
I like to explain to people that there's a difference between having a mental health crisis and a mental health disorder. Now, everybody goes through a mental health crisis at some point. Everybody can go through a mental health crisis at some point in their lives. So if you look at the statistics from WHO, they say that out of every 4 people, 1 out of the 4 would go through a mental health crisis at some point in their lives. So it means that we are all vulnerable and very predisposed to some of these things. And that is why you need to be nice, because it could be you in the next person's shoes having a crisis at some point in your life. Now, when you get to a disorder, now, a crisis is more transient. And when you stretch beyond the transient point, that's when we say you have a disorder. Now, in Ghana, out of the 30 million people living in Ghana, 13% suffer from a mental health disorder, 10% being mild, and 3% being very severe. Now, we are trying to prevent the 87% that is not going through a mental health disorder from crossing over to the disorder stage. And so if you followed me, you'd realize that I'm running a campaign on mental health. So yes, that's it.
Per the statistics you give, are these people diagnosed?
Yes, so the 13% are the ones that are diagnosed. Now, so that brings us back to
the other ones that we don't know.
Exactly.
What are some of the challenges? I mean, as you're trying to fight this, you're bringing the awareness, but what are really some of the challenges? I'm sure that your office, people come in and you're asking them, you know what, I think maybe we should go for
check up and you're like,
So in Ghana, it's a challenge because of our culture. Now, there are a lot of myths that come along with seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Now, I advise people to try and see a psychologist from time to time. Now, it's a good habit. Now, it helps you maintain good mental hygiene. A lot of the time, we're going through crisis and we don't even know that, a lot of people don't even know that they are going through crisis. Now, in my campaign, I am focusing more on depression and anxiety, because you would find that a lot of people are going through a lot of depression and anxiety, and they don't even know that they are going through depression and anxiety. So you will find people who come in very, very sane at some point in their lives. Then all of a sudden, they are not dressing properly. They've become, in quote, lazy. They've become all manner of things that they will be described as. Exactly. Anymore. By an actual sense, they probably are just going through a crisis or a transient period of their lives, which can easily be managed by a psychologist with cognitive behavioral therapy or like any other treatment option.
Okay. Doc, these things you're saying, seeing a psychologist or a psychiatrist, really, it's not something that, you know, as Ghanaians,
it's not something that Ghanaians will embrace on a normal day, and so that is what my campaign is about. I'm launching the campaign on the 10th of May at the Turmeric Hotel. So that is what the campaign is about, is to encourage people to maintain good mental hygiene and also try and prevent stigma. Okay. So that's what the campaign is about.
Is this the first edition?
No, I did one last year, but it was mostly a social media campaign. Okay. Now this time around, I'm coming together with some partners, Mental Health Authority, Turmeric Hotel. I'm coming together with, MESOG, amongst others. We are coming together to try and make the campaign a bit bigger, more outreaches, because I always say that there's a connection between your physical health and your mental health. Okay. So we are coming together to run some outreaches as we educate some of the most vulnerable age groups, like 18 to 25, the tertiary and the second cycle schools, on why it is okay to maintain good mental hygiene and what they are supposed to do to do that.
Prior to that, are there activities you have laid?
Yes. You guys so the first one is a media tour. So I'm here to talk about mental health and to sensitize people about mental health. I'm going to do a school tour. Hopefully I get to talk to the university students. Then there's going to be a major outreach, mostly in the Volta region, but I hope to partner with MESOG here in Accra, a visit to the Accra Psych, and then Pantine, one of the major psychiatric hospitals here. So these are things that I have laid in place, and together with my partners and sponsors, we're going to put together. And then
that's a good initiative.
Well, it's very important that we do talk about these things because we just think that those who have the mental health issues are those we see on the streets. And, you know, what would be your message to family members, to people who have, you know, people who have relatives who have crossed the crisis bit and it's now a disorder, and now they'll tend to pull away from them, and you know, you find them on the streets.
So that is a very, very serious part of mental health that we need to look at. Dealing with relatives who already have people who are suffering from mental health disorders. Because these are things that put tolls on some of these family members. And so we would encourage some of these people to continue to see psychologists. Because it's not about just the relative that is having the psychiatric issue or is being treated by a psychiatrist, but the people around them too are affected. Even when your sibling is sick, how do you feel about it? So you can imagine if you have a sibling or a family relative with such a condition that has a lot of stigma, how do I deal with it? So this is where we encourage a lot of people to see psychologists. I think this year the psychologists are going to get a lot of jobs to do because I'm going to encourage a lot of them to go in there to talk to them. Sometimes it's just about talking to somebody and then shaping your mindset about the condition.
I mean, as you've been on the field, do you think that the commitment from those in charge have been there?
Oh yes, I feel, especially with mental health, I feel that people have not been educated in, and they don't even know that they can walk into a hospital and then see a clinical psychologist. Really? Now, yes, you can walk into a hospital and see a clinical psychologist.
Most of the time, I thought you just have to go all the way to Pantine or something.
No, you can just walk into a hospital. Most of the big tertiary hospitals have clinical psychologists. And apart from that, every general practitioner is trained to handle psychological issues to a certain level. So once you enter the hospital and then you explain your symptoms, or I'm sure every doctor will be ready to assist you or refer you to the right quarters once you get in there.
But in this day and age, how is the stigmatization level going? Because growing up, we talk about stigmatization. It's in the Ghanaian community. And recently, this whole mental health issue has even made it worse. Has it changed?
I don't think I think that the education has gotten better. I don't think it has changed completely. It will take some time because we are still dealing with cultural things that you cannot remove. So we have to find a balance between the culture and how to get people to get help. Once we are able to strike that balance, to
bridge,
I think that we'll go a long way to solving some of these issues. It's step by step. We are just starting, so.
Okay, so you said on the 10th of May,
at
Turmeric Hotel. The awareness will go on. And what time is it? And is it open to the public?
So the launch is not very open to the public. It's a closed event. But after that, we are going to have events where the general public is going to come in.
Okay, and if anyone is watching and wants to be part of it, how can the person reach you?
They can reach me on all my social media handles. So on Instagram, my social media handle is Setor_Norg. And then on Facebook, you can come onto my Facebook page, Dr. Setor Norgbe, and on Twitter, Dr. Setor. So you can locate me on any of my social media handles. And if you go on Instagram, there's a number there that you can reach me on as well. So.
And I mean, Nana, earlier you were talking about her trips to Ethiopia.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if it's, I should call it fun.
It wasn't fun, it was business fun. I mean, she was trying to bridge the whole Ethiopia-Ghanaian relations.
And we are still working on that. We'll briefly mention that at the Turmeric Hotel.
She did a very wonderful job. There's no time. I've told you guys everything that happened. She, from Ghana's most beautiful to, I followed you a lot. I know you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.